Well, we are moving swiftly on to our first keynote of the morning. I'm going to be introducing Stephen Van Bellum to the stage very shortly. He's going to be talking to us about customer experience. In customer experience, there is a fascinating paradox. We all aspire, every one of us in this room, all of the brands that we work for, to delight our customers, but often our execution falls short. Stephen draws on 12 years of insights from countless customer experience professionals to reveal a truth. Most companies are diamonds in the rough, craving customer experience greatness, but often struggling to achieve it. Stephen's a renowned author of 6 international best-selling books. He's also an academic, speaking for Valeric Business School, and he has also spoken at Rock in London, as well as Rock in Toronto, Canada. Please join me in welcoming to the stage, Stephen.
Good morning, everyone. It's a great honor to be here on this impressive stage, and thank you, Mona, for the kind invitation. I'm super excited to share a story with you that I call a diamond in the rough. It's also the title of my latest book, and it basically talks about the big paradox in the world today, or in the world of marketing and customer experience. We all have the great intention to be customer-centric, but only a minority of the companies actually succeeds in that. And my mission is to inspire companies to go beyond that and to become beautiful, shiny diamonds. Most organizations have the intention, they have the PowerPoint, but somehow they get stuck in being average. And I've done research to find out how you can transform yourself from a diamond in the rough company to a beautiful, shiny diamond. And that is what I would like to talk with you about this morning. Now, before we start, a small warning. Bob told you that every conference today is about artificial intelligence. So I want to be crystal clear in my expectation management. This presentation is not about artificial intelligence. So you know, up front. I wrote a book about that a couple of years ago, so you can learn all about that there. But of course, since November 30th last year, we're hooked in AI, ChatGPT, all those kind of new technologies. And what we know from the past is that every time a new technology pops up, you have this S-curve, right? In the beginning, we overestimate the potential. After a while, we start to underestimate it. What we also know is that the really cool things always happen in the second half of the curve. And probably if you look at the world of AI today, we're like at the beginning of the second half of the curve. I mean, we get confronted with these kind of commercials where none of the women in this video actually exist. If you go to Southern California, you will see these autonomous bots that drive around to do food deliveries. We are looking for automation for jobs where we don't find humans anymore that are willing to do the job. And this is happening in all parts of the world right now. This is the coolest thing. Now, if you go to San Francisco, you have fully autonomous cars that pick you up. If you call an Uber, you have maybe the chance that you will be in a fully driverless vehicle. Super, super cool. The cool things happen in the second half of the curve, and we're at the beginning of the second half of the curve. I'm super excited about it, and that's why I'm not going to talk about it this morning. It will fundamentally change everything, but we're not going to talk about it because, you know, what I've seen is in the past 20 years, I've done research about consumer behavior. I did research about how internet changed the market, how social media did, how mobile did, now how AI is doing it. And every time it's the same conclusion. It's a fundamental change in the market. It's a fundamental difference in doing marketing and sales. But at the end of the day, it's never, ever a shortcut to customer happiness. It's a means to an end. And I wanna just point towards a pattern in customer behavior. I mean, just look at the way how we look at technology and our evolution of the wow of technology. I mean, look at Netflix. I have this discussion with my wife currently about this drawer in our house. This is my DVD collection. This is half of my DVD collection. This is the other half. And my wife is asking me, is urging me to remove it so she can put other things in there. I'm not agreeing at this point, and experts can see why. This drawer, it contains the entire series of my favorite show in my life, which you all know. Beverly Hills 90210, the best show ever created by mankind, so I'm not removing that. But my wife's also right, because we never really watch it that often, and we spend a lot of time with Netflix. And in the beginning, Netflix is wow, you think all these cool things. But after a while, you're starting to complain how expensive it is. And after a while, some people even complain that they don't find anything to watch anymore. So you see this evolution from wow to feeling that it's just a day-to-day normal thing. But if you look at it from a rational point of view, it's not completely correct that we complain. I mean, for those 300 DVDs, I invested over time 6,000 euros. Netflix is like 13 euros a month, which means that my entire DVD collection is worth 38 years of Netflix subscriptions. And we think Netflix is expensive. It shows how irrational we look at this, but this is human behavior. And it's a pattern. It happens over and over again. It's the same with new iPhones. I mean, who cares about the iPhone 15? Next year it will be the iPhone 16 with a better camera. No one cares about it. Think about Spotify, how wonderful it is, but how fast you're used to it. Think about Waze. All these new technologies are so normal. And that's why we're not going to talk about AI this morning. I want to talk about this. I want to look for something that stays wow. And you know where I'm going, right? Customer experience, a fantastic customer experience, is something you never get tired of. It's always wow. And the reason why is this is still something that happens seldomly in your life. It is something that is scarce. I mean, the examples that I just gave, from Netflix to ChatGPT, they're all state-of-the-art technologies. They're all high value. They work every single day. But the fact that we use them so much makes them normal. The fact that you hardly ever have a fantastic customer experience just makes it a differentiator for our organization. So this is my hypothesis. AI will be fantastic. It will fundamentally change things. It will create new opportunities. But it will also change the way how customers take decisions. I think we're going to see this flip in trusted gatekeepers. Like if you look to the world in the days before the internet, we use traditional media to get information, like TV, radio, newspapers. Today, most of us get our information through the internet and social media. Tomorrow, it will be an AI platform. So imagine, I visualized it here with an Alexa, but imagine any AI platform. And imagine that you say, okay, I have this cat, and she's 5 years old, and this is the kind of food she likes, this is what she doesn't like. What would you recommend me, dear AI platform? Well, then you would get one recommendation, maybe two, maybe three. But no longer the 500 types of cat food that you have in the supermarket, or the 500 types of cat food that you have when you do an Amazon search. The digital shelf space, the AI digital shelf space, will be a lot smaller than what we're used to. It will be a filter. Like today, Facebook, TikTok, Instagram, they're filters for information, right? And we know how that works. They decide what we see and what we don't see. And we know the good and the bad about that. Imagine now the same with products. Imagine the same when I try to book a hotel. Then you end up in this world where you have to hope that someone will say, I'm going to Dubai and I want to stay in the Conrad Hotel. And if you specifically ask for a brand, the AI will give you the brand. But what happens if I say, hey, dear AI platform, I'm a family of 4, I got 2 teenage sons, this is what they like, this is what they dislike. Which hotel would you recommend me in Dubai? And the question is, which of your brands will get through the filter? Which of your brands will be blocked by the filter? I mean, when we have the AI discussion, we over-focus on the internal part. We think, oh, an efficiency gain. How can we save money? Let's spend time on how people will decide which hotel they will take. One of the implications that is under-discussed, in my opinion, when it's about the AI evolution, is the fact that branding, brand experience, will become more important than ever before. That's one thing. Now, if you look at the model that I just showed you, this is the philosophy of the big technology companies. They want as many transactions to happen on their platform. It's like the internet, discussion all over again, this time with AI platforms. And that's fine from their point of view. What all of us need to do is make sure that you bring enough value to your customers, to your guests, that they value that direct relationship with you. So 2 implications of AI. Branding will become more important, and the direct relationship with your end user, with your guest relation, will become more important than ever. And that's why I am convinced it's not the technology that will be the differentiator. It is the customer culture that you have in your hotels and in your organization that will be the key differentiator. At the end of the day, it's the only individual that brings in money is our customer, right? And sometimes people say, yeah, but Stephen, I mean, isn't it already good? I mean, you have so many cool brands, they have this great experience, like, look at Tesla, great experience. I don't know if you saw this, but a couple of months ago, Elon decided that he would no longer produce cars with the steering wheel on the right-hand side of the car. So if you live in the UK, that's a downside. If you buy a Tesla. Now they don't deliver Tesla S and X anymore in countries where they drive on the left-hand side of the road because of this. But some people in the UK ordered a Tesla S, they picked it up, they paid 120,000 euros for it, they saw the car and the steering wheel was on the left-hand side. And they said, well, it's a mistake. I said, no, Elon made a decision. You can drive with the steering wheel there. It's just a little adaptation. They said, yeah, but the entire infrastructure for paying and getting parking tickets is based on the fact that I would sit on the right-hand side. And Elon said, yeah, we made a mistake. We made a mistake. We need to solve this. So he created this device that he called the Reacher. And the Reacher is like a robotic arm that you can use from the left-hand side of the car to take a parking ticket from the right-hand side of the car with your 120,000 euro vehicle that you just bought. I mean, we're not there yet. There's a lot of opportunities out there. So I'm focused on creating that experience. How can you transform yourself into this beautiful shiny diamond? And it's very often in the execution that the difference is. Like take these two premium fashion brands, Canada Goose and Patagonia. You probably don't buy stuff from them if you live here because they're very good at making very high-level winter jackets. I buy stuff there. And they both offer lifetime warranty. So if they break, they will fix them for the rest of your life. So the same promise. But if you dive one level deeper, what you see is that this is the promise of Canada Goose. If your jacket is broken, bring it to one of our stores. We will fix it and you can pick it up again. Where do these guys have stores? In all major cities like Amsterdam, London, New York, Copenhagen. Not in Brussels, not in Belgium where I live. So if I buy a jacket in Amsterdam and it's broken, I have to drive 2.5 hours to Amsterdam, drop the jacket, go 2.5 hours home, and then a week after that do that same trip again. That's quite an effort. If you compare it with Patagonia, of course you can go to their stores, but they also say, you know what? 95% of the issues with our jackets can be solved by anyone who knows how to deal with that. So go to someone in your neighborhood that is convenient for you, take a picture of the price tag of what you paid, email that to us, and we will put that money back on your account in the next 3 days. I mean, process from Canada Goose is created from an internal point of view. The process from Patagonia is created to make it as effortless as possible for the customer. And it's those details that make it shiny or that keep it rough, right? So I have like 4 transformational areas that I want to share with you that help to make that switch. First one is about mindset. There's too much negativity out there. There's a lot of bad things happening all over the world. There's a lot of negative news in the media. As companies, we don't have to follow that trend. The truth is our customers have zero interest in our difficulties. They just want to have a good time when they come to you. So people long for positivity. People long for having a feel-good moment. I'm still surprised that so many organizations, they communicate the things they do not do for customers. Like in many European cities, we have an issue that a lot of people throw their cigarette butts on the floor in cities. And it makes the city look dirty. So they have these signs. These signs have zero impact. So they said, okay, we need to be more aggressive. Zero impact. We need to make it more emotional. Zero impact. Only in Portugal they have solved this. No more cigarette butts on the floor in Portugal because now they have these options. You can vote with your cigarette butt. Who is the best player in the world? Is it Ronaldo or is it Messi? And suddenly people start to play the game. I mean, positivity with impact. This is what the market really needs. And you know, I have this individual who's really good at this. Who knows who this is? This is Mr. Beast, exactly. Who has never heard of Mr. Beast in the room, just for my understanding? Okay, most of you know Mr. Beast. This is an advanced audience that talks with their children. This is very, very good. Mr. Beast, as you know, is the most popular YouTube star out there, more than 180 million subscribers. I call him the best quiz master the world has ever seen because he makes videos where you can win crazy stuff like jets and Ferraris, $1 million if you spend it in the next hour. His most popular video was this remake of Squid Game, where he copy-pasted that entire show from Netflix. The only difference is he doesn't actually shoot the people, so that's good. But the winner makes a lot of money. The losers even get a lot of money. 480 million people watched this video. Super cool. And the secret of his success is that he shares with his audience, right? And then they told him, hey, Mr. Beast, you're doing so much for us. Why don't you start doing something for society? And he said, okay, what do you want me to do? Well, we want you to plant 20 million trees. Oh, fantastic, I will do that. Anything else? Yes, I want you to clean the dirtiest beaches on the world. Oh, we're going to do that as well, very good. Anything else? So he created this platform on YouTube called Beast Philanthropy. Millions of followers, and 100% of the revenues of this channel go back to projects for society where he's doing really impressive stuff. So you see, his company is super, super valuable, super, super successful, but the secret of his success is, since day one, is that he shares with his audience, that he shares excitement, feel good, and positivity in the world. And today, he is the most popular person on the internet. Positivity with impact. I mean, if you look at the whole evolution, I think that we are first row witnesses of the evolution of work. In the past, most people worked with their hands. Today, most people work with their brain. Tomorrow, in a world of AI and automation, if we as humans, if we want to make a difference, it will be by working from the heart. Because that is something a machine cannot really do. First transformation. Huh? Do you want to sell more stuff, or do you want to create positive change for the people that you work for? This is the first transformation. The second one, I mean, a lot of you are leaders in your organization. One of the major roadblocks for organizations when they don't become fully customer-centric is because the team does not believe the leaders. There's a challenge there. There is a challenge. How can we make them believe? And for all you leaders in the room, I brought 3 questions. Little self-assessment that will help you to understand your own customer mindset. First question is this. How do you react when there's an opposing interest between one of your guests and your organization? What do you do in that situation? I'm going to give an example from a different industry, the telco world. We're all customers of a telco somewhere. I worked for a lot of telcos around the world. What I've seen is that all of them have sleeping accounts, which means that someone may have an iPad at home with a SIM card in it. You're paying a monthly fee for that, and you have forgotten about it. But you keep paying. They know. Now, if you're in that situation as a leader of a telco, you have a number of options. You can say, we're going to let those customers sleep. As long as they don't cancel the contract, we're just going to let them sleep. Or you can call them and say, well, this is the situation. What would you like us to do? Or you can call them and say, you've been paying for us for the last 2 years, and you're not taking that value, so you know what, we're going to repay you. From non-customer-centric to extreme customer-centric. Now, the funny thing is this. All telcos around the world have sleeping accounts. They all have a PowerPoint slide that says one of our values is being customer-obsessed, and all of them, just let them sleep. For the reasons we all know. The question here is, are you willing to hurt yourself in the short run to gain trust in the long run? That is question number 1. Question number 2. If something goes wrong, what is your mindset? Are you a let's fix it person, or are you a let's find out who made the mistake person? What I see more and more happening is that when a mistake happens, the first priority for a lot of organizations and leaders is not to solve the issue, but is to figure out every small detail of what went wrong. How could this happen? Let's dive into the email history. Let's figure it out. And in the meantime, while you're doing that little investigation, your customer gets nervous, you have a little negative discussion, eventually you help the customer, but everyone is so happy. If you turn that around, you know, a mistake happens and your key priority is, let's solve it. Afterwards, you can still have a discussion, you can still do your research and figure out what happened, but the kind of conversations you will have after you already fixed the problem are going to be totally different. Are you willing to solve problems that weren't your responsibility when things go wrong? It's that kind of mindset that is crucial. I'm always promoting the always fix it mentality, but some people tell me, yeah, but Stephen, you don't know our customers. And we have some really difficult customers out there. And I believe that. What I've seen in research, in data, is that about 5% of your customers are really people with bad intentions, people with a negative attitude, people that are never happy no matter what you do. But 95% of your customers are decent, normal people that you can talk with. Doesn't mean they cannot be critical, but they're decent, normal people. The problem is our mind. We give so much weight to negativity in our mind. We're programmed like that we, after a while, we spend so much time to the 5%. We talk with colleagues about the 5%, that we start to think that the 5% equals the average customer. And because of that, we take decisions to protect ourselves against the 5%. And by doing so, we punish the 95%. If you say, no, that doesn't happen in the hotel industry, then I'm going to give you the flagship example from the hotel industry. I'm sure none of your hotels have this, but this is an example of that. You know what I mean? Probably sometimes someone steals a hanger or two. So you say, we're going to make sure that never happens again. So we're going to make the most inconvenient system for all our guests because we lose 100 hangers a year. This is the 95% rule in action, dear hotel industry. Please do not do that anymore to us, your guests. Accept it, that people steal your hangers, and that's perfectly fine. The moment that you can accept that 5% steals hangers, life is so beautiful. Then you take the decisions to create a fantastic service for the 95%. This is question number 2. Question number 3, how empowered is the team? How empowered is the team? How far can someone go without having to ask permission? I still think the best example here that I'm familiar with is in the Ritz-Carlton hotels. I'm sure you know this. I love their slogan, by the way, beautiful slogan. But I'm a huge fan of their $2,000 rule, where you motivate employees to use their time, their energy, and if needed, the money of the organization to compensate for guests and to surprise them now and then. Yeah, this is powerful. In my opinion, this means when you go to the Ritz-Carlton, you check in, and imagine they forgot to clean your bathrooms, or you're a little bit disappointed. It's a fancy hotel, they made a small mistake, so you call housekeeping. That person will probably apologize, will send someone to the room, and has the authority to invite you to go to the bar, get 2 free drinks on the house, and by the time you're back in the room, everything is in order. But the fact that every employee gets briefed and encouraged to act like this gives instant gratification to the guest. If you discuss this 3 days later during checkout, it's too late. Can we empower people to surprise our guests and to compensate our guests without having to ask permission? Now you could say, why do these guys from the Ritz-Carlton limit it to $2,000? Why don't they say, do whatever it takes? The reason is very simple. If you tell your team, do whatever it takes to help our guests, they will not believe you. They will say, yeah, right, until I do whatever it takes. It's like a mental safety net. It's a mental safety net that helps you to get to that point. So here you go, 3 questions to make an assessment about your own customer leadership. How well are you scoring on each of these 3? You know, this tells me a lot more about your customer mindset than any score or any NPS that you can share with me. And it helps to, you know, make sure that your team believes you. And it's not in the big moments that they will believe you. It's in the micro decisions and the micro communication that you do every single day that really will create a difference. Some people hire me to come to give a speech to their team, and they say, you need me to help them convince about our customer focus. My feeling is always, if you have to convince people, it means that they don't believe you. You have to make sure that they truly believe you based on the micro decisions, based on the 3 questions that I just showed you. If you say, okay, but how do we start, Stephen? A trick that I really like, a very simple, pragmatic trick, is to work with non-negotiable rules. What is non-negotiable towards your customers? Like, I don't know if you know this, but in Disney, the maximum height of a building is 199 feet. So the Tower of Terror, 199 feet. The Expedition Everest, 199 feet. The reason is very simple. Every building that is higher than 200 feet needs to put some sort of a warning signal on top for aviation. So Disney is like, no, we want to control the experience for our guests, so we limit it to 199 feet. And another non-negotiable rule at Disney is the ice cream rule. And if you go to a theme park, this is your worst nightmare, right? You wait in line to buy your child an ice cream, you pay a lot of money, and you think now it's going to be a fantastic moment in their day, and then this happens. And you're standing there as the biggest loser in the world of parents in a theme park. Now, in Disney, they have this non-negotiable rule that every employee needs to be aware of their circumstances. And if they see something like that happening, they only have one priority. They have to drop everything that they're working on. Their key priority is take that child by the hand, go to the nearest ice cream stand, and make sure that child gets a free ice cream as soon as possible. And it's a very small thing. And maybe you expect this from your team, but if it's not written down, if you don't promote it, if you don't encourage it, you will not get that behavior. And you can say, such a small thing, but such a small thing is a symbol of your focus on your customers, and it makes them believe you. What are your non-negotiable rules? How can you make sure that the market, and not the market, but that your employees will believe you? That's the second transformation. The third one is about getting to know your customers. It's about building empathy. And I know this is the most difficult part in the business world. So I brought a few tips how you can build empathy. First one is this. You can observe your customers. Imagine that you sell pans and you see, this lady, she wants to use them to make pancakes. And we can do that. That's fine. Let's look at the other customer. Oh, she has a different need. Oh, we have to be careful there. And also, if guests ask for something, it's not always a direct route to what they really need. Sometimes it's like reading between the lines. This is not how you help them. And don't be too aggressive with your empathy building. Like the guy on the bike here is a bus driver in Peru, and his management got some complaints that with his bus he was driving too close to bicycles. So they were like, well, we're going to teach him. We're going to put him on a bike and drive as close as possible for the next 24 hours. That will teach him. Maybe that's a little bit too aggressive. How do you build empathy? By bringing everyone closer to the customer. I don't know if you saw this, but Brian Chesky from Airbnb, in the first 6 months of this year, he lived in his own properties. He rented them on his own platform. And it was very interesting because he discovered a lot of issues. He said, I didn't know how difficult we made it for customers now and then. This is terrible. So he came back to the office after 6 months living in his own properties, not with a new strategy, but with like 50 small things to change. And the accumulation of those 50 things is probably super, super impactful. If you put everyone closer to the customer, it helps. But at the end of the day, I still feel that empathy is too vague. So I try to make it more actionable for the business world. And I actually found my inspiration for this concept here in Dubai. When I had the pleasure to talk with the CEO of Atlantis de Palm, Tom Roelens. I don't know if you know him. He's a Belgian guy. And he inspired me. I mean, they have the staff that they have, the amount of staff is huge. And I was there right after COVID, so 75% of the staff was brand new. And service was impeccable. So I asked him, I said, Tom, how did you do it? So he talked about a lot of things. But this is the one thing that I will never forget. He said, well, what I do is every morning, and in the hotel world, that's 7 out of 7, every morning we start with a small meeting about our customers. And they do something very small. They look at the questions from guests that came in the day before, and they ask themselves, for which of these questions don't we have a procedure? And which of these questions could be valuable for other guests in the future? So valuable for other guests, no procedure. Then they try to implement a new procedure that same day. And they do this every day in the year. And I was super inspired by that because suddenly I got it, how you create effective empathy. It's a combination of fast feedback. I mean, the advantage of the hotel world is you get feedback every single day. It's fast feedback combined with fast action. And most organizations gather feedback but are very, very slow in doing something with that. If you combine fast feedback with fast action, you create an internal feeling of, yes, we can, and externally your guests are starting to feel it very soon. Now, how can you do this? By keeping it small. It's not by making it big, it's by keeping it small. Like, I love this concept from the Hilton Group, the Wadographers. When I came up here this morning in the elevators, I actually saw advertising for their waitographers in the elevator. Did you also see it? I love the concept. The waiters get a lot of questions for people that if they want to take a picture of their table, usually those pictures are so-so quality. So what happened here in Hilton, they gave their team of waiters a training of a top photographer to make sure they could take beautiful pictures with difficult lighting, that they would feel secure so that they can propose themselves to the guests, like, do you want us to take a picture? It looks like you're having a wonderful evening. Because of that, pictures get more shared, everyone is more happy, the employees feel like they're backed, and it becomes a small new project. This is a small step. It's not one of those things that really makes a difference. It's if you can create a rhythm of small steps. I was recently in Japan, and Japan is known for its outstanding customer service and customer mindset, right? I don't know if you're familiar with this Japanese term. It's something you cannot translate in English, omotenashi. It's part of the Japanese culture, which actually means like we're going to do whatever we can to create an outstanding customer service without being asked to do so, and without expecting anything in return. I like this concept. And if you think about another strong part of Japan is their strong efficiency. They basically invented efficiency, both in their production, but also in their public transportation, even in their restaurants. I mean, if you look at their restaurants, most of them are very, very small, 12, 15 people max. And the chef decides what you will eat. Omakase concept. I mean, we just heard about food waste. In this concept, you have zero food waste because you have 12 to 14 people. The chef perfectly knows what they're all going to eat, so there's zero food waste. So if you combine omakase with omotenashi, basically you're combining operational excellence with customer intimacy. And this becomes interesting. And this is part of this philosophy of effective empathy. By keeping it small, we increase efficiency and we increase customer happiness. And eventually you end up with a say yes culture. I call that the open door button culture. Are you familiar with these buttons in elevators? I guess you've been in the following situation where you're in an elevator all by yourself and you push the floor button, doors are slowly closing. You're happy that you're all by yourself. And on the other side of the closing doors, you suddenly see another human with the intention to come on board with you. At that moment, you have a choice. You can say, not today, my friend. Bam, the door's closed. Or you can be the open door button hero of the moment for that person. You always have a choice. Let me give you an example. A few weeks ago, I was in St. Pancras in London, had to travel back to Belgium, and I was late, and I saw this huge queue at customs, so I knew I'm going to miss my train. So I started to text my wife, saying I will be on the next train, I will be 2 hours later. But just before I pushed send, there was the security guy, and he jumped in front of the row, and he shouted. He said, "Who's on the train that is about to leave in 5 to 10 minutes? So I raised my hand, and like 3 others raised their hand. And then he shouted again. He said to all the others, "Do 1 step to the left." And they did it. They actually did it. It was like, vroom, vroom. It was like Moses and the sea. I felt like Neil Armstrong coming from the moon because there was this corridor. People were almost cheering. And before I knew it, I was on that train. I made it on the train. The security guy was an open door button hero for me. He was happy. I was happy. Even the people who let us pass by understood perfectly why that was happening. Some people tell me, yeah, we don't have time and money for all this customer experience stuff. This was a zero money investment. This was a 2-second time investment. As a matter of fact, it's a time saving because if I would have missed the train, someone would have given me a new ticket, which takes a lot of time. So you can save time by being an open door button hero. This is the mindset that brings you to that effective empathy. This is the third transformation. The last one that I'm going to talk about is customer loyalty. This may be a sensitive topic for the hotel industry, so I apologize up front. My feeling is that your entire industry is looking at loyalty in a way too transactional way. And it's also putting the initiative with the customer. loyalty programs. The key question, you all have them. There's no way not to have them because everyone has them. But the key question is, do loyalty programs create loyalty to the brand, or do they create loyalty to the loyalty program? I fly a lot. I'm a frequent flyer with many airlines. In all honesty, I don't care about the airlines. I care about the perks of the program. I'm loyal to the program. I don't care about the brand of the airline. It's too transactional. You have to fly with us for 50 times, and then we fast track you to security. I have to do a lot of work first, and then I get a little bit back. And that's maybe not how we should approach it. It's too transactional. Just imagine that you use the same philosophy as you have in your loyalty programs with your partner at home. Try it tonight. You come home, I have an idea. We're going to use our perks program at home. So the longer you stay married to me, the higher the rewards will be. So I don't know what the reaction would be if you launch this in your house. So, it's too transactional versus if you really want to create loyalty, it's about the emotion, right? It is something emotional. So I would like to throw something in the group and turn the whole thing around. Like, let's not ask the question anymore, how can we make our customers more loyal to us? Why don't we turn that around and say, how can we show more loyalty to our customers? What if we start first? And then we'll see what happens. I want to show you this example from a famous Belgian brand, Neuhaus, one of our premium chocolates that we have in Belgium. Neuhaus is a fantastic brand, super customer-centric. They have this program. It's a community that they have. It's very simple. If you buy from them once, you're part of the community. As from that moment, if you want, you can join the community, and about 10 times a year, you get a message that you can pick up 2 chocolates for free in one of the stores. Every time when there's an innovation, they invite guests to go to the store and pick up 2 free chocolates. Now they have 500,000 people in this program. We're talking about potentially 10 million free chocolates a year. You would have to build an entire new factory just for that. Now, reality is double. First of all, not everyone picks up the free chocolates every single time. Second thing is, people that enter the store because they get something for free, and it's no strings attached. You can just walk in and walk out. No strings attached. No buying conditions or so. But the second someone steps in that store, half of them walk out with additional chocolates. The traffic in their stores went up significantly. The top of mind, the love of the brand, because they just give you something without asking something back every 2 months, creates a loyalty back from the customer. But here the initiative starts from Neuhaus. They say, we're so happy that you're a customer, we want to give back to you guys. That seems to be working very well. So I start to look at what people really value. What really creates loyalty? And it's a combination of transactional convenience and emotional values that you enter in between. It begins with doing your basics right. If you're not seen, heard, and listened to, you only wish there would be a robot or some AI in the room. So that's one thing. You have to make it easy, transparent in communication, and so on. This is a challenge. Are all customers equal? No, some are more equal than others. We know this. And there's an issue because we used to grow up in a world where a segmented approach was normal. The more money you have, the better service from a bank. The more you fly, better service. The more nights you stay, the better the service. I mean, we grew up like this. But we have a challenge. You have now a lot of digital companies that we use every single day that deliver fantastic service to all customers. So suddenly, we see the contrast. And this is something where AI will have to make a difference. Automation, personalization at scale. But this is a challenge. But the fundamental thing, are all customers equal? No, they're all different. Everyone has their own needs, their own preferences. Some people like to talk to a human, some don't like to. I mean, understanding the value of N is one and acting upon that is part of creating that emotional loyalty. And then something that I think is a unique opportunity for every hotel. That's understanding how to add emotion to certain moments. This is one of my favorite books in the world of customer experience, The Power of Moments from Dan and Chip Heath. They do research about how to create loyalty thanks to scoring with the perfect timing. Now, one of their conclusions is very good news. You don't have to score during every single interaction. So they did this research of people going to Disney World. And their conclusion was, if you look at every small step in the process, it isn't always that great. I mean, if you go to Disney, you have to wake up early. because you want to be the first one at the gate, right? Then you arrive there and you see, oh my God, thousands of people woke up earlier than me. First disappointment. But then you have Space Mountain and you think, wow, this is amazing. The adrenaline goes through your body, you're super happy. Then you are hungry and you pay for an overpriced average quality meal. Then you wait a little bit more in line. And just at the moment when you get sick and tired of it, they have their closing ceremony with the fireworks and the iconic Disney music. And you look at it and you think, wow, this is the happiest place on earth. Thank God that we came. If you would make an analysis of every single step throughout that day, the average score is 6.5. If you ask people the week after, the score is 9.5. That's the power of moments. You don't have to play Champions League in every single step. You have to define what the peak and the transition is. What is your peak when I stay in a hotel? What is the transition? Transition is when you exit. Maybe it's checkout. I don't know. Maybe not. Maybe it's before that. Maybe it's after that. Today, checkout is the same in every single hotel. Doesn't matter if you go to the cheapest or the most expensive hotel in the world, it's always the same. How was your stay? Good. You want to check the bill? Yes. Can we use the credit card on file? Yes. Have a good day. And you're gone. Doesn't matter if you're in the Ritz-Carlton or if you're in an Ibis hotel. It's the same checkout. Is that a missed opportunity? I don't know. But define what your moments are. The truth is, we have millions of interactions with brands every single week. Most of them are just average, and because of that, we forget about them. How can we choose the right moments in the customer relationship and make them memorable? Small things, and not the same what everyone does. I mean, in every fancy hotel, you get a little surprise in the evening when you're back in your room. There's some chocolates and some goodies, fantastic. But what is the thing that was different in your place that really stands out, that makes it memorable? That helps you create that true loyalty. The transactional part and the emotional part of the experience combined. And of course, your loyalty program is valuable, but it doesn't create loyalty. That's something else. And that helps to, make sure that people talk about you, that they bring their friends to your place, and so on, what eventually leads to making more money at the end of the day. And that's the final transformation. So 4 transformations from diamond in the rough to beautiful, shiny diamond. More positivity. Make sure the team believes us. Effective empathy. Short feedback, short action. And change the mindset of loyalty. It will help you to become that beautiful, shiny diamond. Now, I'm going to end with a very simple conclusion. How to start with this mindset. And I would like to use a quote of Admiral McRaven, who's a former US Navy SEAL who gave a couple of really inspirational speeches a while ago. And he said, if you want to change the world, start by making up your bed every single day. Why? Because if you cannot succeed in the small things in life, how can you succeed in the big things in life? I think one of the things that I've learned throughout working in the CX space for 20 years is that the accumulation of 50 small things that you improve has a higher impact than one strategic project that you work for 2 years on. Start with the small things, scale them, repeat them, create a rhythm, and that will help you to become that beautiful, shiny diamond. I'm at the end of my talk, but I want to end with, if you like my work, you're always welcome to join me on social media, of course, but I want to end with giving you a small present. I wrote a new book called The Diamond in the Rough, and the goal of that book is to inspire everyone that as from tomorrow you can be more customer-centric. Together with the book, I made a workbook. If you say, I want to work with these principles that Stephen just shared, the workbook can be downloaded completely for free, no strings attached. I'm not even asking for your email address. You can spread it with everyone in your hotels, in your teams. But it helps you to start acting upon the things that I talked about. So I want to end with this gift for you, a workbook to become even more shiny than you are today. I wish you a lot of success and a lot of luck with that. And thank you very much for listening. Thank you.